Mm.
Hi, everybody. This is Vladimir Acuna, and we have Angela Longo, an amazing author and scientist. And she has written a book, Quantum Wave Guided Living. And she will tell us more about herself. Hi, Angela. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure, Vladi. I can't wait.
I'm more excited than enthusiastic, I should say.
Yeah,
Tell us about your research, because it's fascinating.
Well, it was about the glial cell in the brain. It's the cell that's like the mother cell for the nerve cell. The word glia means glue. Nobody thought it was important, but I decided that it had to be very important because obviously the feminine is extremely important in life. And so I found out that the glial cells synthesized nerve growth factor and gave it to the nerve cell, and the nerve cell knew to grow up and to put out long neurons so that you could be brilliant. And that's what they do. And I proved it, and I got good reviews in Nature and all kinds of journals. And that was my contribution as a biochemist at UC Berkeley.
It's beautiful. I've read, people can read more on Amazon on Angela's author and the research, and it is really fascinating.
Yeah, but the more fascinating part came after that, because I got sick from working so hard on my thesis. And so I went to see an acupuncturist, and he was amazing. He was doing things that I wanted to discover with biochemistry. And I said, I don't have to discover it. He's already doing it. So I studied with him and learned about the world of energy. And that was my first quantum leap. Then after 50 years of doing Oriental medicine, I had a college I founded. I trained people to be great herbalists and acupuncturists. Then I got a diagnosis of liver cancer on an energy machine. I went back three times, liver cancer, lung cancer. And then I said, oh my goodness, I need to discover something new, and it has to be fast because liver cancer is so fast and so terrible. And that's when I got a new teacher of this quantum, beautiful world and understanding. And that's when I began to discover and write my tools to help myself recover from this diagnosis of liver cancer. And now I'm 72 years old. I don't dye my hair. I travel all over the world. I work in Thailand at a health resort. I worked in New Zealand for a year. I've worked in every country I go to, all over the world, because everyone wants to know about this great new way of life called quantum wave living. This is the workbook. This tells you how to do it. This is my second book. So yes, this is where it all began. Shall I dive in and tell you about it?
Please do. I'd rather listen to you than talk, because I find this like, you know, when you actually find the power within you and change, and I love your glow. And I mean, we chatted before as well. So it's just like you can see the result really. So tell us more, please.
Okay. So what happened is he told me the very first story, which I'm going to share with you. I call it the cup story. He said that when a student or a client brings you a cup filled with poison and says, can you help me change the poison in my cup? Because I want to drink from my cup. The teacher knows the student is asking about his life. The cup is his life. The poison is all the stuff he's judging in his life, right? Not to be so good. All the old patterns that aren't him, that aren't authentic, like you said earlier when we were talking. Okay, so my teacher said, first thing, according to the quantum world, you cannot throw out what's in the cup. I said, uh-oh, I've been trying to let go, to clear things, to clean things, to forgive things. But he said, you cannot do that. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed in the quantum world. So I said, well, then what can I do? He said, what you can do is pour fresh water into the cup, and you pour and you pour and you pour until the water replaces what is in the cup. When it replaces it, then your water is pure water eventually, and you can drink from your cup as long as you wish.
I love the analogy.
Great, because this is very difficult to understand, because our culture thinks we can cut it out, we can replace it, we can take drugs to prevent it, and we won't talk about that. But that doesn't work in the real world. The real universe is made up of quantum waves. That's who and what we are made of. And so I said, tell me more, tell me more.
My favorite sentence, tell me more.
Yeah, right. And of course, people love to hear that. So he told me more. And in the old quantum world, we used to think we were made of particles or balls, right?
Yes.
Like a solar system.
Yes.
But it isn't true. This is the old thinking. The new thinking of all the greatest scientists, de Broglie from France, Einstein, Schrödinger from Germany, all the greatest minds knew we were made of waves, quantum waves, not energy waves, quantum waves. And they're different. They come before everything, and they are as big as the universe. So picture this, you are made of what I call a sovereign self, quantum waves that touch the whole universe. And then they come back. And when they come back, they spin to turn around and go out again to reach the universe. Now, when they turn around, that's our body. I call it our turnaround body, because that's all it is. And it changes as fast as the speed of light, because the turnaround, there's only 2 turnarounds for the electron, and there's a half of a turn for a quark, which is what makes up our protons and neutrons. So we are made of these quantum waves that are as big as the universe, pulsating out, coming in, spinning, and going out again, so that we can reach the universe. Did you know you reach the universe?
I didn't quite see it with the spiral, but totally makes sense with the waves. Yes.
That's perfect. It does make sense. The spinning or the turnaround, Vladi, you can think of it as a change. It's how we change. We turn around. That's our change.
Yes.
So when we take in new information, and that's what the physicists call it, they say that our quantum waves are made up of information. But I said to myself, Angela, you're not made up of stuff. Information means stuff. And I said, well, then what is it? I said, well, I know it's motion. It's information. And I got my first quantum word.
Love it. Information. That's it. That's interesting.
It's
That is
true.
beautiful. It's true.
You know it,
Yes.
because you're always on the go. You're always doing
Everything
something.
always vibrates. Nothing rests.
Bingo, you got it.
Mm.
So your quantum waves are always pulsating and picking up new information that you choose. This is where you come in. You make the choice on the information. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. You just know it's going to be new and different. And that's what the word emergent means. So the first one is pattern. That's what the quantum wave is made of, patterns. But we know that the patterns that we picked up from various parts of our lives, that they're not us. My son always tells me, Mom, it's my patterns that are reacting. It's not me. And so I wrote that in my third book, which is going to be a story, a novel. It's going to come out, I hope, in another couple months. So the patterns are what make up the information of the quantum waves, okay?
Yes.
Part 2 is when it spins, it gives us something new. And if we put new information in, then we will get a new body. And that's what I started doing. I started saying, okay, I want to put new information into myself, into my quantum waves that is going to replace my liver cancer diagnosis. So I asked, I said, yeah, did you have a question?
No, I want to hear this. I'm very interested.
Okay, so the question was, how do I replace the information? And that's when I got a quote from Gandhi. And there's what it gave me. The quote is, keep your belief positive, because your belief becomes your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your emotions, and your emotions become your destiny. And so I took all those words. Those were the words I was looking for. I added attitudes, and actually I put emotions in there. He didn't talk about them because, you know, Indian men don't have emotions. They're in charge of it all, right? So, but my teacher, Roger Cotting, told me, yeah, we have emotions. Okay. And we do have attitudes. And I have a lot of attitudes. Yeah, so I put those in, and I got that word that I showed you, bath wave.
Love it. So we're back in a wave.
Exactly, a bath wave. And it stands for beliefs, actions, thoughts, habits, words, attitudes, values, and emotions.
Love it.
So that helps. Good. Now you can remember the kinds of information that make up our quantum waves. So my first technique, guess what the name of it was? So it's a bath wave.
How funny technique. We talk about the ocean and wave being part of the ocean, and actually your story absolutely fits in it.
That's what I was thinking.
Becomes where you make a choice. And when you make your own choice, that's where you are your individualized wave. But the spinning, I love this. Please tell me more.
So you made a choice to be an authentic purpose. When you were incarnated right away, you said, I'm illuminating. It's actually, it could be after incarnation, but I like to think it happens immediately because I keep getting inauthentic patterns that creep in right after incarnation, like a day later, 2 days later, when I'm doing my work with people to help them to replace the old patterns. So you choose your Vladi's unique pattern that only Vladi has, nobody else has it. And that's what's inscribed in the Akashic records. I call it the quantum memory of the universe. And that's what I read for people. You can read it. I can teach people to read it. Everybody can read the records of everything that's ever happened in the universe, including your choice of your authentic purpose. And it's long, it's not short. Some people think, oh, I'm here to do this word. And I go, you think so? You think you came here just to do one little thing, one little action? And I read their purpose like I can't wait to read for you.
Oh,
and we find out that it's probably between 5 and 10 verbs working together to manifest the illuminated purpose that you need, that you desire, not need, you desire to manifest the universe this way. And so that's the short of the long of it.
I love it.
The bath wave is the part that helps us with the inauthentic patterns, the things that we reacted to and we chose, like judging, like accusing, blaming, worrying, all those things. And I have lists. I have 3 maps: the map of survival, the 5-element map that I learned in Oriental medicine. And now I have a chakra map. Oh, a 4th map, the relationship map. So I have 4 maps. And I use the bath wave as a simple technique. It's very simple. It's like jumping in water. So do you have any questions while I take a sip of water? Speaking of water.
Please do. I absolutely love this. I was just thinking about being a source and making a choice, and also how we decide, like I've been teaching people, and most of the clients would actually say, oh, I need to find my purpose, or the purpose needs to find me, and I just cannot connect to the purpose. And I was in one of the webinars where one of the mentors said, your gift of life, you are a gift, and the main purpose for you to be here is to be the source in the life of another's. And in what way you touch other people's lives, the life is not about you. And I thought how great it was. He said purpose is what you decided to be. It's what you connect to yourself, what you feel. And that is what you're talking about. It is the choice. I love the way, because I always, like Neil talks about you being a wave as an individualized wave, but you cannot be separate from the ocean. You are part of the ocean, but you're individualized, which is what you're talking about again. It's the choice. Once you make choices, nobody makes the same choices. Nobody has the authenticity. I love be authentic to myself. It's my code. I just showed you. I've got it stuck here on the sticker, and it is so true. Because we are all so unique, we cannot find 2 same people. It's like we have a unique fingerprints, it's just we're different, and the way we approach things. So you hear the message from 10 people, they will deliver it different ways, and they will touch different people's lives, because everybody perceives the message different way.
I love you, Vladi. I just love you.
I love you too.
You are like the perfect, you get it faster than I can say it. I love that. I just love how fast you're not only getting it, but you're creating with it. Like you get it and then you run with it and you start talking about how it works. And you've just introduced part 2, which is what the physicists call entanglement. So 2 quantum waves, when they interact with each other, they make a spin. You know, when 2 water waves hit each other,
Yes.
they get bigger and it spins. So you manifest the universe. We've heard that over and over again. But how? Well, that's how you do it. Your quantum waves meet all the quantum waves of the universe. And wherever you meet, which is everywhere, your quantum waves will spin new matter, new particles, which are matter. So that's how you matter. And your mattering is unique, just like you said it, because your quantum waves are different than my quantum waves. I call them in my new book kaleidoscopic patterns.
Oh,
you know how when you're looking through the kaleidoscope,
yes.
So you're always changing, and you're always adding new crystals of thoughts, beliefs, pathways, actions, thoughts, habits, words, attitudes, values, and emotions. You keep adding those things to your kaleidoscopic pattern. And when you do that, you have a new emergent miracle. And this means the new mirror. This is a mirror. And we're looking at mirrors. That's the entanglement. So when 2 electrons are separated, when one moves, the other one moves in a mirrored fashion. So if one spins up, the other one spins down like this. So everything is a mirror calling us to our illuminated being. That makes 3 of us. The quantum wave part of us, that's our sovereign self. The turnaround body, that's our body, brain stuff, personality. The third one is what you're talking about, is this awareness, this big awareness that knows the conversation and watches the conversation. So the 3 are always there. And I show it with these cute little cartoon characters. One is a heart, one is a star, and one is the heart star. And at this point, I usually put on the 3 different glasses to make everybody laugh. But I'm not going to do that with you, because you've got it already. It's like you don't need to be convinced. So you've got the awareness. That's your illuminated choice. And it's aware, Vladi. There are 3 of you. You are triplets. You are 3 virtual triplets, the 3 of you that you think about, the 3 selves. And you are also 3 beings, the personal being, the body, brain, turnaround body, the sovereign quantum wave body, and the awareness, the illuminated body. You are 3 selves and 3 people. And guess what you get when you put one triunity or triplets on top of another triplet? This is what you look like. This is not just a symbol. This is literally, you are looking like this practically, except your kaleidoscope makes it much more complicated. So, but that's the basics. So I had discovered this in my second book, that the basis of the sacred flower of life is in the quantum world, which is the basis of the whole universe. Everything in the universe is made of quantum data, information, and quantum waves.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so you got the entanglement, you've got the mirror calls. That gives us everything we need to know. How do you know yourself? Just look around you at all the mirror calls. And this is where I hold my mirror up with the boy and the girl on it. But I don't have, it's over there.
Yeah,
and I don't think you don't need to see it because you know this. Peggy teaches us this also, that we see ourselves everywhere and that these are gifts we give ourselves. The quantum nature of us is always giving us this wonderful mirror call of ourselves. Okay?
Yes.
So that's from entanglement. Oh, entanglement was another word I couldn't relate to. One of my clients from Norway said, "Oh, I'm feeling tingling all over my body." And I said, "Well, Lois, you're entangling this." And I said, "Entanglement. Yes, just the word I was looking for." So I replaced entanglement with entanglement. It's in the second book. So the quantum language is coming. So that's the pattern of you, the eternal pattern, the entanglement of you, and then these emergent miracles from your kaleidoscope that you talked about. When you put new things in, you see the new you. So here I am, 21 years after the diagnosis of liver cancer. I never went back, but I used my bath wave technique. And you don't have to get into a bathtub to do it. I'll show you. That's the one technique I can share with you and show you very easily. So that's what I did. And here I am. I never look back. I'm still going strong. I'm still doing my own work on myself. You know, you're your worst client.
You look amazing. Amazing. I mean it, honestly. It's just, and the energy and the look and everything just represents that whatever you're teaching is absolutely true.
Well, I've done this with tens of thousands of people with intractable pain. He lives in Egypt, and he came in with pain from an accident that he couldn't get rid of. His leg was atrophying. I worked with him 10 hours, no more pain when he went home. Now he called me up with COVID, that flu that we were getting, and he couldn't get rid of it. I did my work with him, and sure enough, 6 hours later, no more flu. I've done this with people with the big C word, you know, the cancer word, like me. I've done this with people who, you know, dengue fever. One doctor walked in with dengue fever, 2 months. She was dying. I only spent 3 hours with her, didn't touch her. I read her sovereign self. I changed her, you know, survival patterns and her 5 elements. And she walked out without dengue fever. It never came back.
Amazing.
So that's the emergent miracle.
You know, I have a healer in Czech Republic. She does similar work, but not quite you, but I mean, in the healings. And well, just a quick story, like 20 years ago, we backpacked in Southeast Asia. So we had to have all sorts of, like, you know, medications and stuff, the anti-malarica tablets. And because we've been there for 4 months and eating it every week, completely done I had such a problems with tummy. None of the doctors could do anything for 5 years. I worked with her for 6 weeks, never ever had a problem, never. And I don't take pills, I don't do anything, but this is my personal choice. But I believe in this because it's just what you do and who you do it with. You do people with who understand it. So if I have a serious problem, I look out to people like you because I know that's all I need. I actually don't need to look into, and people don't even question things these days. It's just like sometimes they just, this closed minded, like, oh, because we're told, as a masses to do certain things. I was like, this is your life, you know, like value your health, and you actually don't put enough time and values into what you can find out to do for yourself. And I love what you're doing. I can't wait for my working with you.
So Vladi, what you said was so powerful, because it proves you don't have to understand the quantum world to get this. But I needed to understand it, or else I wouldn't have been able to invent my tools.
Yes.
I needed to understand it, and I need to talk about it. And some people like it. Like, I have a feeling you're going to like it, because it answers a lot of questions, like, you know, like quantum leaps. Why can we do quantum leaps? That's why, because we're changing, because we are turning around, reaching the whole universe, and changing our particles as fast as the speed of light.
Yes.
And they change, they disappear and they reappear. They disappear and they reappear faster than we can count, as fast as the speed of light.
I love you talking about light, because my 6-year-old one came to me not that long ago, like few weeks, and she said, they're listening to all my recordings and my personal development and whatever I'm listening, you know, they're developing with me. But she said, do you know what we really are? I said, no, well, tell me. She said, we are stardust. And I was like,
that's right, because the stardust is quantum waves.
Yes.
And we are picking up, as we go out, we pick up quantum waves, which is stardust.
So I was really surprised. Because when she told me, I was like, you're right. But sometimes how these amazing small creatures are reminding us certain things, you know, like I have a 9-year-old one who last time I was talking, I mean, it's something really, you know, what actually upset me. And he was like, why are you worrying about this? It's just an illusion. And you kind of go like, when a 9-year-old one tells you, you're like, you know, as a parent, you feel like, I should know these, right?
Okay, let me teach you the bath wave around worry. How about the worry one?
Yes.
I mean, it was either worry or judging. It's kind of like you have to do judging or worry won't work, because you worry because you judge something bad might happen. So you worry about it. If you didn't judge the bad and the good, then would you worry?
No.
So do you want to do judging? It takes a little bit longer. It's a little harder to replace, but let's give it a go, okay? Because when you replace worry, it might last you for a few hours or a few days, but once you judge something again, it'll come back. So you can also reclaim the patterns. That's why when I do a session with somebody, I create a recording for the person. They put it on their own recorder phone, and then they listen and they speak their new sovereign self patterns and all the patterns that they chose in the work that we do together. So they remind themselves, and I tell them, best results, remind yourself for 3 months.
Okay.
3 weeks is minimum, but 3 months, best results. Because some of them are so deep and so old and so basic that if you don't remind yourself 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months down the line, you might slide backwards into it.
You're right, because when I started my transformation with the personal development, I'm actually very disciplined. That's one of my strong advantages is discipline. And when I set myself a command, and I was like, I do this for, you know, like we were always told to do it 30 days, or if you're really good, do it for 60. I would go for 90 or 120 because I like extremes. Like that's me. Like I push it to the maximum, but that's why it really worked. And I would not miss a day. I'm like, because I knew that if I miss the day 67, I go back to number 1, and there was no way happening.
I knew there was something special about you, and I bet that this discipline might be one of the pieces of your, I can't say for sure because I have to use your words, but you keep talking about it, and I keep seeing your life so disciplined. You are really focused on discipline. That's a good word. Focus is a shorter word for it. You are so focused. And I love that about you. I mean, that's why I think, yeah, it's really, really an admirable trait to have. I mean, we can all have it, but I think it's part of your authentic choice. We'll see. We'll see when we read it. Let's learn how to replace judging. Okay. Now, in order to replace judging, the J word, I have to tell you a story because I could never replace it. And then my teacher said, okay, Angela, I have a good story for you. His name is Roger B. Cotting, who's not with us anymore, but he, you know, I love him, and I just want to give him my deep, deep gratitude for everything. He started me on this deepening of this path. I had a few other, you know, jogs when I was younger, the Hopi Indians, biochemistry, Chinese medicine through my teacher who escaped from China. They were all nudging me in this direction. And so I thank them all, great gratitude. Okay, now judging. The story Roger told me was, there was a Greek philosopher named Parmenides. Very few people know about him except in Greece. I went to Greece. He said, he came before Plato. He taught Plato and Socrates. He said, Plato and Socrates, he said, if you cannot touch something and it isn't a thing, you should not make up a word for it. He said, don't do that. He said, it doesn't exist. It's a not thing. So if you put not thing together in English, it spells nothing. So can you touch a good? Can you hold a bad in your hand? No. They do not exist. They are nothing. So when I heard that, I'm going to ask about you. Is that all right if I ask the Akashic records? Can I ask about Vladi? Does she believe that good and bad exist? Ooh, you do, Vladi. How about everybody listening to this? Just about everybody listening to this interview believes that good and bad exist. So that's the first bath wave we're going to do. Okay, now let me teach you how to replace it. First, part 1 is like holding the cup and embracing our whole body, like the cup, okay? But you don't hold it this way, you touch your body. So you're going to use all your 5 senses: touch, voice, hearing, speaking, hearing, seeing, and of course you're smelling and you're tasting and you're touching all at the same time. So what we're going to say is, I face and I embrace that I believe that good and bad, right and wrong, let's bring those in, exist. And I'm embracing it in my whole body. And we go down the front all the way to the toes. We come up the sides of the body to the underarms. We cross over, touch our neck, grab your neck, then go down the shoulders. Yes, like you did. Down the shoulders, down the arms, down the hands. And I'm replacing it in every cell and wave of my being. Okay, now let's do it together. I will do it and you will repeat after me. I'm going to move back just a little bit so you can see more of my body, and I'll stand up at the right moment, but you don't have to. You can stay seated and bend over, touching your toes. Oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. That's better. Okay, but I'll sit back here. Okay, so here we go. We raise our arms, start on our back, and say out loud, I face and I embrace.
I face and I embrace.
That I believe.
That I believe.
Eyes open. That good and bad, right and wrong exist.
Then good and bad, right and wrong exist.
And go down to your toes. Come up the sides of your legs. Come up the sides of your body to your underarms. Cross over, grab your neck. And I'm ready to
replace it.
Down the arms, down the hands, down both hands, touching your body in every cell and wave of my being.
In every cell and wave of my being.
Okay, now I'm going to ask, does VLADI'S still believe good and bad, right and wrong exist? No, you have melted the pattern. Part one, just like when you jump in a pool or the ocean, you feel great.
Yes.
Because the water melts the change in the body. Okay, so that's part one, but it doesn't last. You get out of the water, it lasts a few hours, a few days. You're still in your afterglow of being in the water. But after a while, we can forget it. So we have to do part two. Part two is pouring the water back in the cup. Remember the cup story?
Yes.
It's this part. We have to put in living our true desires. That's what the pouring of the water is. It's living your true desires. Okay, that's in the book, by the way. So here we go. We use one hand and we go around the center core of our central nervous system, our chakras, our microcosmic orbit, and we have to touch our back too. If you have a chair, you can lean up against the chair on your back. Okay, that's the best way. If you don't have a chair, you can put your hand back there and touch them like this. One goes down, one goes up, and then we say our true desire. Our true desire is, I can't, we have to use 3 tenses to reprogram the brain. We say, I can, I will, and I do it. I can, I will, and I do it. Okay, so this is how we do it. I can,
I will, and I do it.
No, we have to be specific. I can, I will, and I do not believe that good and bad, right and wrong exist.
Okay. I can, I will, and I do not believe that right and wrong,
good and bad do exist. I do not believe that they exist. Okay, write that down. You have to write that down on a piece of paper. Don't write the can and will, just write, I do not believe that good and bad, right and wrong exist. Or you could say, I believe that good and bad, right and wrong do not exist.
I do believe that good or bad, right or wrong do not exist.
Good. Well, don't put the 2 knots in there. So take out the first knot and say, I believe good and bad, right and wrong do not exist.
So I believe that good or bad, right or wrong do not exist.
Good. And we let the courts take care of when people, behave like we don't desire. We hope that the courts take care of it. Okay, now that's part one. Part two of this belief pattern. Now that we know that good and bad don't exist, we can stop judging. We've spent all this energy, most of our lives, judging. And we were always told, don't judge not, or you will be judged the same way you judge others. If you judge they're bad, then you get judged as bad. We don't want that, but I could never do it, even though I read it in all the greatest books that have always been written. Okay, so now I can embrace, let's do another bath wave technique. And it's very simple, jump in the water again, saying, I face and embrace that I have been judging most of my life, good and bad, right and wrong. Ready? Let's do it. I face and
embrace that I have been judging.
Good
or bad, right or wrong,
most of my
life.
Come up the sides of your legs and hips, up to your pits, cross over, and I'm ready to replace it. In every cell and wave of my being.
And
if you want to wiggle, I just tell people wiggle a little bit.
I like wiggling.
Yeah, it makes your back and all your parts of your body touch the chair, and they know they're being touched too. Okay, so part two, we can now put in that I live without judging. And we use the 3 tenses because our brain has been programmed to believe there's a past and a future and a present, when now we know it's best to live the present, because we don't know the future, doesn't exist. The past, it's recorded, but it doesn't exist. We don't want to live the past, do we? Hell no. As they say.
We only live in the now. I agree.
Heaven no. We want to live in the new present, this moment. So let's put that in, that we are living this moment without judging. And we say, I can, and you put your hand on your back in the middle. Are you writing it down already?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Everyone will write that down. So one hand, okay, you can do 2 hands like that. I can, I will. And I am choosing to live without judging. In this moment.
And
you can leave choose out, it's up to you. I live without judging in this moment, or I choose living without judging.
I think I live without judging resonates more with me.
Good, me too. But some people, it's one thing I have to warn you is people will judge that they're judging, or judge other people who are judging. And you have to honor people who choose to judge. It's very important, because I got stuck there. A lot of my friends got stuck judging judgers. It sounds hilarious, but it's true.
Yes.
You are so living without judging at this moment. And it's true, you make the choice and you choose living without judging every moment. And how do you feel after putting that in?
I do feel great.
Does VLADI live without judging? Yes, it went in. I always check. Is VLADI stuck in any frozen ages? No. So you also have to find out if there's any moments in your life when you got stuck in this belief pattern. And that is the fourth process of the work I do, melting the frozen age patterns that we get stuck in. I mean, some people have patterns that are 10 years old. I had a pattern that was 1 year old, 1 year old. And I was living that for, I think I didn't replace it until I was 50 years old. So you can imagine when I got that diagnosis of liver cancer, I found patterns and I had to invent these tools and write books about them so I wouldn't forget them. And then I shared them with people from all over the world when I worked in Thailand at the Taoist health resort called Tao Garden. And it was lovely.
It's the sharing. Isn't it like a dream of every author to impact as many lives as yours? It's about story. It's about your message. It's beautiful. Which part of Thailand did you work?
Above Chiang Mai, north of Chiang Mai.
I love Chiang Mai. It's my favorite place. I've spent 5 days in jungle with tribes. It was one of the most memorable places ever.
Oh, the hill tribes.
Yeah, I was in a village of Lisa, Lahu, and Karen. So
whoa!
Days with the people in there. We were chased by elephants. They had to use guns. I stepped on Thai cobra. Oh, I had lots of wild experience. It was great. It was really good times.
You stepped on a cobra?
I kind of nearly stepped on it. I disturbed it with the bamboo because I was playing with the bamboo. And the guy got cross. He told me off that if I didn't disturb it, we could have had a snake soup. I was like, what? Like shaking, and he's like really over the moon, like, we could have had a dinner. I was like, no thanks.
You want to know something funny? When I went to China with my teacher, I had a whole meal made out of snake. Snake ribs, snake wine, snake soup. I was all in. And you know what? I never felt better. I felt so good. Snake is actually very good to eat for your body. Okay, enough about snakes. Yes. We could have a lot of fun with that one using my techniques. I do dream work. Dreams are the sixth one of the other patterns that's when your quantum waves communicate with your turnaround body directly. They talk to you in your dreams. So we always do dreams, symptoms, relationships, you name it, we do it. Daily events.
Absolutely love it.
Okay, so where are we? How are we doing?
We can, I can just put, do you want to give readers more, or shall we just give them people? I will put all your links in the bottom, so whoever would love to connect to you, do get Angela's book. Angela is part of our Complete Authors program, so whoever's with Peggy, we will meet her in the circle. And
how nice.
And absolutely, whoever's interested in this and do the workouts and workshops, because you do.
Yeah.
I will actually put all the links so people can connect to you directly as well.
Okay, great. Because the workbook tells you how to do it, and it gives you all the charts that I was talking about. They're all in here. And if you want help, you can contact me directly. And if I can't personally help you online, which I do, you can also, I can refer you to my coaches, which I have a French one, I have an Egyptian one. If you speak Arabic, you can have a English. We don't have an Irish one yet, but most Irish people speak English. Anyway, just contact me and we'll do our best. We have one in Africa. I don't know what her language is called. Okay.
It's amazing. It's been an absolute privilege, an honor to have you. And everybody just can find all the stuff. I've got the writings, yes.
Okay, and remember to repeat the writings. And I tell people, repeat them at night before you go to sleep with your eyes closed. So I would say, okay, I believe right and wrong, good and bad do not exist. And then you picture your life. Wow, so relaxed. without having to find out and determine what good and bad is. So much more energy. And then you read the second one. I live without judging in this moment. And again, you feel the burden coming off of your shoulders, relaxing. Oh, now I'm yawning. And a yawn means that you liked it. A yawn means you're making new blood, because blood is happy emotions, lively emotions. That's what blood is made of. So when you feel good, typically you will yawn because you're making new blood, and you have to oxygenate the new blood, which is what a yawn is. You may be more relaxed, you may feel relaxed, and people think that means they're tired, but it isn't tired. It's happy. It's feeling more vital, more alive, more alive. And so if you yawn, that's a good thing. We call it a yo-yo, a yawn orgasm, because it feels good. Okay, so let's end with that note that you can yawn, you might burp, you might cough. That's called a cocoa. A burp is a bobo. They're all orgasms, meaning feeling good, putting new information into your system. Sneezes too, so-sos.
I love this. Oh, I'm gonna give this to my kids.
Yeah, no, they'll love it. Only don't use the word orgasm. For kids, we have to invent a new word. Let's call it overexcited, overactive, overexcited, over happy, over glad. Ovation. A yawn ovation. You pick the word you like, that your kids like. Yeah, I haven't written a children's book because usually children don't need this stuff. It's usually around 25 when you really start needing. And plus the brain finishes developing at 25. So that's when I really encourage people to do this work, 25 and up.
That's amazing, actually. Thank you so much. You are an absolute bless. Loved it.
Blessings to you too, Vladi. You put this together. I'm so excited. I told you that I had to do work, and I did the work before I did this interview. I enjoyed communicating with you. I enjoyed sharing my sovereign self, and I enjoyed it right now in this moment. And when I do this, I say no mistakes. It sounds like namaste. No mistakes.
Namaste is my favorite as well.
Thank you, everybody.
So much. and just look up Angela. She's amazing.
Thank you so much. We'll meet again.
We will meet again.